Hello, hello. Welcome to the Pearly Eye Review. I'm PJ, and earlier today I just got the chance to watch the live action version of The Lion King. Here's my ticket, and I apologize for my horribly chipped nails. I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to start out by saying I am, as a fan of the original, and, I grew up with the golden age of, the renaissance, of 2D animation, Disney 2D animation. And The Lion King was one of my all-time favorites. I know that movie like the back of my hand. I mean, I was teased and bullied for singing out loud by older kids when I was 7 years old back in '94. 7, 8 years old by older neighbor kids that were jerks. Because I liked it so much. And as a fan of the original, hoping that I would, just walk away with just satisfaction, I guess. But I did not enjoy this. I'm really disappointed. And it's crazy that is what I came away with it. Because there are some people that saw it already, early showings, and they absolutely loved it. But I didn't. I like some things about it, but overall, I have no desire to watch this again. I'm almost at a loss for words. Really, I am. Because I was hoping to really like this, as I just said. I'm gonna say, here's the thing. The CGI, nothing, you have to realize, nothing is real in this movie. But it's branded that way as, oh, this is a real live action version. But the trees, the grass, the sky, the rocks, the animals, everything, the water, it's all CGI. They didn't go to Africa to film these animals or whatever. They may have got a reference from the plains of Africa of how it looks, but what they filmed is not real. And it's, again, branding itself as live action. They accomplished that, yeah, but at the same time, I guess my feeling is I'm torn because it's not real, but it looks real. You know what I mean? I hope that's making sense. But at what cost when you do that? For me, they look like real lions that you would see on PBS or National Geographic, but when you go that far and you don't find a middle ground with this, there's lack of emotion. Now, the argument, especially on the internet, is people were going back and forth. For the people was saying, well, there's no emotion there, and I'm one of them. People were rudely saying, well, stupid, they're supposed to look like real animals. Yeah, I understand that. But they didn't say it to me, but other people were, saying it to other people that really spoke out against this live action version. I wasn't speaking out against it, but I wasn't necessarily thrilled about this remake. But I was willing to give it a chance, and I saw it earlier today. And I totally agree, and this is what I expected. It's just, I know I couldn't get what I wanted from this because had they had exaggerated the facial expressions, it would look weird and maybe even creepy to an extent on these CGI animals because they're supposed to be branded as realistic, and it would just look too creepy with how they're drawn in the 2D animated version. This is why some things they should just be left alone. They don't need to be remade, and this is one of those films. Again, the CGI is amazing, but there's just, it's like they have their hands tied behind their back. You know what I mean? It looks great, but then again, I wasn't liking it. Because, for example, there are musical numbers in this film. And, musical numbers, they're supposed to be exaggerated. Lights, the different color schemes, and it's just, they can't do that because they're trying to brand this as a more grown-up version of The Lion King and not the cartoony version. And it's just very dull looking, especially during Be Prepared. It's just, I get it, because it's supposed to look real. Yeah, it looks real, but give me those green colors. Give me the steam, the green steam that was coming up in the elephant graveyard when Scar was singing. Yeah, it's just like, for example, I just can't wait to be king. Simba singing, it's like, oh, I just can't wait to be king, in the cartoon version, and it's like, this version, oh, I just can't wait to be king. His voice is excited, but his face is very masking, because he can't exaggerate it, because he's real looking. It's like, because if he did too much with his face, it would look too creepy and scary. And it was just like them, Simba and Nala, just singing, the masking faces. They look adorable, but it's just, they can't, move their mouth too much to do the enunciate. And that's how the singing was. And some parts, when they were talking, their mouths didn't match what they were saying. To me, it didn't, because they were just sort of, peephole mouthing when they were talking, because, well, they're created to look real. They can't, open their mouths, exaggerate it. But, okay, but that's my complaint about this. I think that's what really took me, I think what would have helped me hold on, like with Aladdin, I think what helped me with Aladdin was they were loyal to the music, and they switched it enough, just a smidget, for the actors to handle, but it was still something comfortable. It's like, okay, I'm still home. I'm still there. But this, I didn't like, I walked in, right before the Circle Life ended, but I like what I heard, because Labo M, the musician and African musician and singer, is the same one who sings the opening Circle of Life in the original. He sung for this one too. I like that they kept that. But Scar, Hakuna Matata, the first part I didn't like. Seth Rogen, don't sing. Don't you ever sing again. Don't you ever. It's crazy. I didn't like the first half of Hakuna Matata, but then the second half, when Donald Glover comes in as adult Simba, I liked a lot better. It started to sound better. I don't know why is that? But the beginning part, I didn't like. Seth Rogen's part, it was like, just no. No. I liked Can You Feel the Love Tonight, but I loved how it sounded. I didn't like what was going on the screen. I didn't like what I saw. Simba and Nala are frolicking around throughout the jungle, running around, singing Can You Feel the Love Tonight, and it's daytime. It's like afternoon, it's daytime, not even evening. In the cartoon, fair enough, it wasn't completely dark. It was like evening time, because you could actually see, if you notice in the background, you could see it's getting darker in the cartoon. It's bright as I don't know what in this one. How you singing Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And it's bright. I mean, the sun is blazing and they are just rubbing all up against each other and rolling around in the, grass and just loving it up. I'm like, I think y'all need to change the title of this song. But see, I do understand why they kept it daylight, because if they had done it in, evening into towards night, wouldn't have been able to see anything. See, that's the cost of having it real, because there's, that scene with Simba and Mufasa talking to Simba about the great kings of the past. In this version, it's really dark, and you can barely see them, but that's real life. There are no lights and special lighting in real life in the dark, on the plains in Africa. It's dark. You can't have that special lighting where, you can still see them. Okay. It's just no, you can't do that. It's just, and also, it's not that I didn't like it, but it's something I noticed. Mufasa's voice. James Earl Jones, yes, he still does the voice of Mufasa, but, y'all not tricking me. There's some scenes where they took audio from the original film, kept it in there, and then had James Earl Jones do extra lines had James Earl Jones come in and do extra lines for whatever they added or changed the dialogue in. For instance, the scene where Scar says something slick to Mufasa, like the scene where he says, "Oh no, Mufasa, perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me." And then Mufasa growls and says, "Is that a challenge?" That is, I know this movie like the back of my hand, that Mufasa sounds young, and the voice is more deeper. James Earl Jones's voice is more deeper, but it sounds like how he sounded in 94. And then when there are different scenes where the lines have changed or added onto, James Earl Jones's voice now is a little bit older and shakier. I'm like, no. No, don't even try it. Don't even try it. I know the difference. And I could so hear it. I'm like, oh, y'all fooling. I didn't hate it, but I noticed it. I wonder if other people that know The Lion King very well that noticed that too. The two different types of James Earl Jones voices that they used. The one, how he sounds today, and then some of the stuff that he had already recorded. I don't blame him. I wouldn't re-record anything I said 25 years ago. I'd be like, no, just strip that from the cartoon and put it in there. No. If you got me some new lines to say, I will do it. Yeah, I don't blame him. I wouldn't redo that anyways. But overall, I mean, I think also it's a generation thing. It's just, I'm just that kid that grew up with 2D animation. I know some people, they absolutely, what I've heard, some people love this. They love this. They love this new remake version. I tried. I didn't. It's just, it's like, again, certain scenes, and also, well, I will say, there is emotion when more exaggerated because they can. It makes sense to do this when they're fighting. Simba and Nala, when they have their confrontation, they're growling, close-ups on their face when they're growling. Of course, animals do that. They growl and their faces are all scrunched up. They definitely show emotion there. But when they're having talking scenes, just talking, they can't do too much of that. It's just like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? It's no, what are you talking about? I don't want to go home, or what, Simba, it's like, yeah, he can't do too much of that because it would just look weird. And I get it. I totally understand why they couldn't do too much of, and I'm twitching my face to try and get people where, I'm just trying to state just trying to explain people where I'm coming from with this, because some people automatically say, oh, well, you just want to hate on film. No, I'm just telling the truth. It just some films don't need to be remade. And it's just, yeah, and this is one of them. It was just so unnecessary. Whereas it's, like I said before, it's crazy that I enjoyed Aladdin. And I think it was just because the music, they held on closer to what was originally before. And they weren't poo-pooing on the original. Like, well, I'll say this. Keegan Michael Key did an interview, and he was sort of talking mess about, poo-pooing on the original, and, talking about the adult Simba's voice, and saying, oh, well, our version is this and that. I'm like, yeah, but listen, you can't do that. I don't have a problem with the original. I absolutely love it. Some people do, they have their issues about it. But for me, hey, some people still like it. Don't go around bashing what was before. You know what I'm saying? Well, just say, hey, we're trying to do our own version, And it's funny how they were just sort of, well, he in particular was talking trash about the original, but I noticed in the end credits, they thank the original production directors and producers that worked on the original. And I'm like, as they should, rather than, saying, oh, well, that cartoon version doesn't exist anymore. Ours, check ours out. I'm like, that's how it kind of felt. Rather than, I think the attitude with Aladdin, and I think it was also because Robin Williams had died, it was like, well, we were just trying to keep the heart of, Robin Williams alive. We're not trying to replace him. We keep him in mind, and we know that people love the animated version. Where I noticed something about the director of this version of The Lion King, Jon Favreau. Something he did with The Jungle Book is he's not great at directing musical numbers. And I think that is his weakness, which is why I had trouble holding on to this film, because I think had the musical numbers been outstanding, I think I would have held on by a thread to enjoy this film. My thing is, it's just some people about the live action version are a little bit two-faced, because people are saying, well, oh, you need to, don't bash this version if you haven't seen it yet. Just people, you just see people talking back and forth on the internet, and, Twitter or whatever, fighting about the original and the live action version. Oh, just shut up and give it a chance. It's going to be better than the original. I'm like, bottom line is, here's the thing. I don't like this version, but I don't have a problem with other people liking it. I like the original, but I'm not going to tell people, well, you can't like this version because I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? It's like people that like live action versions or remakes of whatever movie. It's like, well, you can't like the original because, you need to get off that nostalgia horse. Like, I'll like whatever I want to like, just like you're entitled to like what you like. I did not like this. Okay? And I told you why. Period. You're fine to like this version, but I don't. I will continue to watch the animated version. It's just, I didn't get, and I think it's personal for me because The Lion King was the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater. I was 7 years old. And it was the greatest movie experience I ever had. And I just did not get that feeling. I felt good about Aladdin. You know what I mean? I didn't see Aladdin in the movie theater. But I saw, I would see it on, somebody had the video, or I'd see it on TV. I absolutely loved it. The live action version. But it's just something for me was just missing with The Lion King. This version. And it was overall just lack of emotion from the characters. And I know they're supposed to be real, but I felt like they had their hands tied behind their back. And the dull colors. Here's the thing. Jon Favreau should have found a middle ground with this. Yeah, he he could have said, I want them to look real, but sometimes we have to lean a little bit towards the, the unreal, and exaggerate this a little bit. I would have to say a little bit more pop of color in the background. Some things look dull, but then again, he wanted super realism. It can't be exaggerated too much, and that's, again, I can't say this enough. I know I'm repeating myself, but this is what happens when you have your hands tied behind your back. When you're just trying to do it just by the book, you know what I mean? We're talking about talking and singing lions. You gotta bend a little with it. You gotta give. You gotta give a little. And, for me personally, now this is up to you. I would say stay home. This is not worth, stay home, and especially if you don't own The Lion King, get a chance, however you watch your movies, watch the original again, and then maybe go see the live action version. Because I have, 2 copies of it. I have the Blu-ray, I haven't watched it in a long time, I think about 5 years ago. It's have to sit there and watch it. I mentioned that in my throwback childhood movie review of the original. And really, you could kind of see, and I want you to compare, not to bash it, but just see the differences of what I was talking about, with exaggerated colors and facial expressions, especially the scenes in Be Prepared. That's what I'm talking about. But it's up to you. I would say stay home. This is not a must-see, but I don't care to watch this again. I can stay home and watch the animated version. It's really up to you, because there are some people that love it, but I'm one of those. It was a letdown for me. Yeah. And that's my review. It really sucks that I didn't get the little tingle, the Disney tingle feeling, the happiness that I got that when I went to go see Aladdin, but The Lion King is my favorite, one of my favorites, my top 3. My top 3 is Little Mermaid, Lion King, and Bambi. It's just, but this, it pains me. And it's just, I just hope people understand where I'm coming from with this, because yeah. But anywho, please check out my past reviews of Toy Story 4, Aladdin, and my throwback childhood movie review of the original The Lion King. Thank you for stopping by at my channel, The Pearly Eye Review. And thanks. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.